Hey everybody, the Ginger Librarian here, and I'm coming at you from my dining room today. It's too hot and humid outside, and there's a lot of activity with insects and like people getting their yards mowed and planes, and so it's just too noisy outside, so I decided to bring it in. And I don't know if any of you had me when I was a virtual librarian during the pandemic, but I'm totally getting pandemic vibes because this is where, I shouldn't say pandemic vibes, let's say virtual learning vibes. I'm getting virtual learning vibes because this is where I sat for almost an entire school year and read books to kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, and some fifth graders too. So this is just reminding me of that. Okay, next thing is, you might notice my shirt. It's got shoes all over it. And I was actually going to get rid of this shirt recently. I was like, I don't really wear it anymore. And I mean, I'm not like a school person anymore. So I was going to get rid of it, but something told me to hang on to it. And today is the reason, because the book that I'm going to read to you today is called Those Shoes. This is another one of my most favorite books by Maribeth Boelts, illustrated by Noah Z. Jones. This is another one of my most favorite books, and I'm starting to notice a common theme within the theme of books I like to read. So I'm going to read this, excuse me, I'm going to read this book, and you try to tell me what themes you pick up on. I'm also going to try something a little different. I'm going to add a question or a couple questions in. So this is the main character, Jeremy, and he is struggling with needs versus wants. So I want you to think about what are needs, especially in the shoe world. What are the shoes that you need versus the shoes that you want? I know for me what it is. So think about that as I read, and pay attention to Jeremy and what his choices are that he makes. Go ahead and get started reading Those Shoes. I have dreams about those shoes, black high tops, 2 white stripes. Grandma, I want them. There's no room for want around here, just need, Grandma says. And what you need are new boots for winter. Brandon T. comes to school in those shoes. He says he's the fastest runner now, not me. I was always the fastest before those shoes came along. Nate comes to school in those shoes. Antonio and I count how many times Nate goes to the bathroom. 7 times in one day, just so he can walk up and down the hall real slow. Next, Alan Jacoby and Terrence each get a pair. Then one day, in the middle of kickball, one of my shoes comes apart. Looks like you could use a new pair, Jeremy, Mr. Alfrey, the guidance counselor, says. He brings out a box of shoes and other stuff he has for kids who need things. He helps me find the only shoes that are my size. Velcro, like the ones my little cousin Marshall wears. They have an animal on them from a cartoon I don't think any kid ever watched. When I come back to the classroom, Alan Jacoby takes one look at my Mr. Alfrey shoes and laughs. And so do Terrence, Brandon T., and everyone else. The only kid not laughing is Antonio Parker. At home, Grandma says, "How kind of Mr. Alfrey." I nod and turn my back. I'm not going to cry about any dumb shoes. But when I'm writing my spelling words later, every word looks like the word shoes, and my grip is so tight on my pencil, I think it might bust. On Saturday, Grandma says, "Let's check out those shoes you're wanting so much. I got a little bit of money set aside. Might be enough, you never know." At the shoe store, Grandma turns those shoes over so she can check the price. When she sees it, she sits down heavy. Maybe they wrote it down wrong, I say. Grandma shakes her head. Then I remember the thrift shops. What if there's a rich kid who outgrew his or got 2 pairs for Christmas and had to give one of them away? We ride the bus to the first thrift shop. Black cowboy boots, pink slippers, sandals, high heels, every kind of shoe except the ones I want. We ride the bus to the second thrift shop. Not a pair of those shoes in sight. Around the corner is the third thrift shop. I see something in the window. Black shoes with 2 white stripes, high tops, perfect shape, $2.50. Those shoes. My heart is pounding as I take off my shoes and hitch up my baggy socks. How exciting, Grandma says. What size are they? I shove my foot into the first shoe, curling my toes to get my heel in. I don't know, but I think they fit. Whoops. Grandma kneels on the floor and feels for my toes at the end of the shoe. Oh, Jeremy, she says, I can't spend good money on shoes that don't fit. I pull the other shoe on and try to walk around. They're okay, I say, holding my breath and praying that my toes will fall off right then and there. But my toes don't fall off. I buy them anyway with my own money, and I squeeze them on and limp to the bus stop. At home, a few days later, Grandma puts a new pair of snow boots in my closet and doesn't say a word about my 2 big feet shuffling around in my 2 small shoes. Sometimes shoes stretch, I say, and Grandma gives me a hug. Look, there's his new snow boots. And then look at his little feet. They have Band-Aids all over them. That is a worst kind of pain. I check every day, but those shoes don't stretch. I have to wear my Mr. Alfreys to school instead. One day, during math, I glance at Antonio's shoes. One of them is taped up, and his feet look smaller than mine. After school, I head to the park to think. Antonio is there, the only kid who didn't laugh at my Mr. Alfrey shoes. We shoot baskets. A loose piece of tape on Antonio's shoe smacks the concrete every time he jumps. I think I'm not gonna do it. We leap off the swings. I'm not gonna do it. We race from one end of the playground to the other. I'm not gonna do it, I say. Do what? Antonio says, breathing hard. Grandma calls me for supper and invites Antonio over too. After supper, he spies my shoes. How come you don't wear them? Antonio asks. I shrug. My hands are sweaty. I can feel him wishing those shoes were his. That night, I am awake for a long time thinking about Antonio. When morning comes, I try on my shoes one last time. Before I can change my mind, those shoes are in my coat. Snow is beginning to fall as I run across the street to Antonio's apartment. I put the shoes in front of his door, push the doorbell, and run. At school, Antonio is smiling big in his brand new shoes. I feel happy when I look at his face and mad when I look at my Mr. Alfrey shoes. But later, when it's time for recess, something happens. Everywhere there was snow. Leave your shoes in the hall and change into your boots, the teacher announces. Leave your shoes in the hall? It's then I remember what I have in my backpack. New boots, new black boots that no kid has ever worn before. Standing in line to go to recess, Antonio leans forward and says, "Thanks." I smile and give him a nudge. Let's race. Okay, I'm sure you can see why I love that story. And the theme that I find that I am drawn to recently is just kindness, just being kind. What were some other themes that you heard in the story? So there's kindness. A big one is friendship. And let's see if you can think of any others. So thank you for listening to me read my version of Those Shoes by Maribeth Boelts and illustrated by Noah Z. Jones. So did you have any kind of connection with Jeremy? Do you think that you would have given those shoes away to your friend? I like to think that I would, because if they don't fit me or if I'm not using something, why not give it to somebody who would love and cherish it? I don't know. All right, TikTok at ginger_librarian. Go on over in the next couple days and I will post a video. I don't know what it's going to be about, but have a great day. It's supposed to be really nice weather this weekend in the 80s, which will be nice from these 100-degree days. Okay, that's all for me. Bye. So let's get started. Those shoes. It's kind of a glare with the ring light. Let me see if I can do anything about that. Let's see if I lower it, maybe. That helped a little bit, but not really. Okay. Once we start turning the pages, it won't matter. So thank you for listening to me read my version of Those Shoes by Maribeth Boelts and illustrated by Noah Z. Jones. For listening to me read my version of Those Shoes by Maribeth Boelts and illustrated by Noah Z. Jones. I wonder what Noah's middle name is to start with a Z. Zeke? Zane? I don't know. So that's all I have today. Go on over to my tickety-talk count. Oh my gosh, my kids are going to kill me for saying that.